He scores out high. He's young. Um, the amount of charges that were there, it was long. I've never seen anything that long. I had
It's not good when a parole board member says, I've never seen a list of charges that long. We're going to jump into a parole hearing of a man who claims to have no substance abuse issues, but yet he cannot stay out of trouble. At the end, we'll unpack it.
Of 7 years in jail, execution suspended after 3 years, followed by 5 years probation for violation of conditions of release second, criminal possession of a firearm, larceny third, and 7 violations of probation with 2 counts of conspiracy to commit larceny third, larceny first, attempt to commit larceny first, risk of injury to child, conspiracy to commit larceny third, and criminal violation of restraining order as the underlying charges. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of March 12, 2024. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan. It has been reviewed and shows the offender has not completed any programs. However, he is currently engaged in domestic violence, voices, and the GED program. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT falls within the very high range of risk for recidivism. Mr. Higgins, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the panel. First and foremost, I want to thank you, the board, for allowing me to hear this morning. I want to express my sincerest apologies for my actions. I also want to say I'm remorseful for any of my actions that have had an impact on my community, your community, as well as my family, directly or indirectly. That was not my intentions. I take full accountability for my actions. I further how reckless and immature my behavior has been, and I have been taking steps to rectify my personal growth. I'm improving my behavior by educating myself to create a positive change for myself and others. I've taken all necessary steps to better my environment by staying away from the wrong crowd and leading by example to create a path of positive, productive activity. I've used this time away to strengthen my development as a person and to obtain the necessary tools to help me live a balanced, productive lifestyle. I have done programs that taught me to be kind, generous, and empathetic, to understand pain, and to show compassion. I've begun my journey by looking in the mirror to reevaluate my purpose in life. I've used the word of mentors as a useful resource to do better, and I'm amazed by what was accomplished. My transformation is something of a work in progress. However, nothing happens overnight, but I notice myself being so much different in the best way possible. It feels good to want to do good and be the best version of myself. My plans upon returning to the community will begin with my participation in mental health and behavioral treatment awareness program, as well as counseling. I have a couple job opportunities awaiting me if I get released at Amazon warehouse in North Haven and working at a Nissan dealership in West Haven detailing cars. I'm going to school to the CDP program, credit diploma program at West Haven High School to get my high school diploma. I'm going to get my license and last help my father with his health issues. My father is going through heart issues and has to get heart surgery. He finds out when he's going to have the surgery on the 28th in 2 days. I would love to be there for him while that is going on. With this being said, I want to thank the board for taking this time to listen to me. I pray my letter can be taken into consideration.
Mr. Higgins, thank you very much for that opening statement. We as a board have some questions that we'd like to ask you at this time, and then at the conclusion of those questions, we'll discuss your case and get back to you with our decision, okay?
Okay.
So, when I was reading your file, I was trying to understand with the amount of number of offenses that you had, right? That were involved in your criminal activity at such a young age. I assumed, it's got to be, he's got an issue with substances like drugs, but that doesn't seem to be the case, right? It seemed you smoked a little pot and that was about it. Would that be accurate?
Yes.
Yeah, so then what was going on then with all these offenses, your thought process, the larceny, the pistol, conspiracy, I mean, there's like 4.5 pages of offenses that I had to read, and I was saying, oh boy, there's a lot. So what was going on at that time with all these offenses at such a young age?
So I was influenced by the wrong people. I was hanging out with older people and hanging around the wrong crowds, doing illegal activity. And I realized since I've been in here that that's not the life that I want to spend in here for the rest of my life. I've realized me being around those people are going to put me back in this place, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to be around those people. So I've realized being around those people is going to put me in these situations where I'm in right now.
So, help me understand, you're in some programming now?
I just finished the Voices program, and I finished domestic violence on April 15th.
And did that give you any insight, or was that helpful to figure out what was going on with you?
So with Voices, yes, I realized with larceny, stealing from other people really puts an impact on people, not just them, but myself too. I realized that everyone's a victim in any case. I realized stealing people's stuff I wouldn't want my stuff stolen. People upset about things that they purchased and then get stolen from them, thousands of dollars just basically wasted, gone.
Okay. And this looks like your second period of incarceration?
Yes.
Okay. And you talked about your GED. You want to finish that up at the high school, at night school?
Yeah, so when I was home, I was in the credit diploma program where I can basically get my diploma instead of getting my GED. So I want to go back home and complete that so I can do that so I can get my high school diploma. I want to get my CDL license and work for a company.
Okay, so it looked like prior to incarceration, you worked a couple of weeks at Dunkin' Donuts before you quit, and then you were working for Manifest Performance too?
Yes.
That looked like it seemed to be underneath the table.
Yes.
So, you can't do that either, right? You need to get a job where you're on the books, so to speak, right? Where you're paying taxes.
Yes. I want to go work at Amazon in North Haven, working third shift.
Okay, yeah, I know they have a big distribution center out there on Washington Avenue there.
Yes.
Okay, so, you have a number of years of probation to follow, like 5 years, and you need to work very closely with that probation officer when you are finally released.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, panel member Rodriguez, for further questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of things for me. Mr. Higgins, who's Mary Izzo?
Mary Izzo is my best friend's mother.
Well, I thought I read somewhere where she was acting like your mother.
But
Is she a surrogate?
She's been here since I've been incarcerated. She's done a lot for me since I've been incarcerated.
Okay. So I'm not sure why you had an issue with her. I don't quite understand that. Anyway, the only program you've taken is Voices and Domestic Violence?
Yes, I've tried to sign up for other programs, but because due to space here, they don't let you just sign up for the ones that you want to do. You got to do the ones that are on your OAP.
Yeah, what were you doing carrying a weapon?
Honestly, young and dumb. I was hanging around the wrong crowd and just following, then leading. I've realized since I've been in, I want to be a leader. I don't want to be a follower.
If you want to be a leader, you got to do a lot of changing. You got a lot of stuff you got to work on.
Yes, sir. Yep.
I mean, there were a lot of folks involved. You had several co-defendants in this. You had recently you had some tickets in November. You had some tickets. What was up with that? The November insulting language.
Yeah, I had a class B insulting language / behavior. We were coming back from recreation and it was me, but it was a whole bunch of us, but we were all singing a song and I guess the CO here didn't like me singing it. So they called me to operations and told me to go up there and then I got a ticket and I went to SEG for it.
CO didn't like your voice?
No, he didn't like what we were all saying. He just didn't like the language that we were using.
Singing NWA?
Huh?
NWA.
I'm sorry, I cut it out again.
What were you singing?
NWA?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, it involves swearing.
All right, I don't really have any additional questions at this point. Thank you for answering my question.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Sir Terry. So Mr. Higgins, I'm really surprised that they gave you more probation to follow your sentence, especially since you haven't done well. I mean, you filed a number of probations. I mean, there were so many, like the chair said, with so many underlying this and that and the third. We rarely see them give you more probation because, especially if you didn't do well. And, you know, I don't know what was going on, and I heard your plea to go home and be with your father, and I hope that he has a successful surgery and a speedy recovery. But, you know, you rate out very high. You're 23 years old. And it looks as if something else is going on that's unaddressed here because you don't have a substance abuse problem.
Right.
I don't feel comfortable voting you to parole. I just do not believe that you've done enough work to support that, especially, I mean, 3 times. There's 3 violations of probation, 3 this and 3 that. Yeah, it's too much. It's like you come to the end of the road. So I will continue working as you're doing and let this be your stepping stone of lesson learned. But I cannot support your request here today for discretionary parole.
Okay.
So give us a few moments. We're going to discuss your case and then we'll get back to you. Yeah, so you know, he scores out high, he's young. The amount of charges that were there, it was long. I've never seen anything that long. I had him denied too. I thought that, you know, the number of offenses even while on probation, and then, you know, the tickets for institutional adjustment. I see that he's trying to take some programming. He's working towards his GED, but
He's doing everything. Being in possession of weapons.
Right, so-
He's
Yeah.
And you have nothing to really
to work on,
justify,
right.
to justify why you're doing all
Yeah.
this. Like, it's a lot, and it's dangerous.
So that's kind of where I am.
I'm in the same place, Mr. Chairman.
So
I had nature circumstances occurring.
you said that too, nature,
History.
current offense committed while on probation. I don't know. There's a number of,
Inadequate
Or
institutional program
institutional-
participation.
I could probably put half of them down there, but,
Listen, you choose.
The November DR institutional
Yeah, so-
adjustment.
so I had nature. current offenses while on probation?
I would absolutely donate criminal history. I mean, this is a lot. Nature and circumstance and criminal history is fine by me. I mean, if you want to go.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Is that all right? Yeah, those two. Okay. So, in the case of William Higgins, inmate number 425-442, there's a motion at this time to deny early release for the following: nature and or circumstance of current offense and criminal history. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Further discussion, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So, Mr. Higgins, you'll be getting all this information in the next couple of weeks, and we do wish you the best of luck.
All right, thank you.
This
You're
is-
welcome.
I don't know about you, but this guy gives me kind of the creepies. It's scary to think that he has in there injury to a child and violation of a restraining order. They don't get into those details, and neither do we have any of those details. But for someone to be so young, and if you actually believe what he's saying is true, that he doesn't have an addiction problem, which it's very, the parole board is just taking it for face value. We have seen the parole board in Louisiana sometimes poke around in it a little bit to say, okay, well, why are you stealing? What is it that you want? They didn't go there. And if you take him on face value that he's not feeding an addiction, yeah, it's even more scary, because again, it's why. These are the kind of cases that scare me. It only feels like it might escalate from more and more and more. And the idea that there's just nothing, like, it's again just kicking the ball down the road. It was even the parole board was completely befuddled. Why does he have probation? Now, what's the alternative? The alternative might just be a longer sentence. But I suppose giving the 3 years probation, it also hurts the recidivism numbers. But I would love to have been in that courtroom when the judge sentenced him. What I have here, thank you, Carol, for sending it when Richard was gone, and Richard for putting it in the spreadsheet. It is a long list, and keep in mind that they won't show any convictions from when he's a juvenile. So it's really just a few years that he's racked this up when he's not in prison. And I see I don't have the details because it's done differently. The way that Kara was doing it, she was taking a screenshot. So I don't have the details, but I'll tell you what the crimes were. But I think they read them off. But I'll give you the dates. So we have 1/17/2020. The dates are out of order, so just follow me through with this. 4/11/2023, 12/1/2020, 1/17/2020 again, which would have been just an additional charge. 4 more on 1/17/2020. 7/11/2019, another one on 1/17/2020, another 2, another on 4/11/2023, 1/6/2023. I mean, the truth is, from what I'm seeing here, it's like he would get arrested and they would hit him with 10 charges on the same date, and I don't know how to understand that. That seems very different than. But it could also be that I just don't have the full record. So, but yeah, it's it is, I guess it's just scary. There was something else about it that just kind of scared me. About just like the mannerisms and everything like that. But what can you do? I will keep tabs on him as he goes through the process. And I don't know what the answers are. If he's truly sober and there's just something like off, they call it antisocial thinking. What are you supposed to do for someone in that situation? What's the answers? It certainly seems like in this scenario, the DOC is just trying to kick the ball down the road. I mean, the idea that he thinks he can get a CDL license with this record, it's not going to happen. Oh boy. Also, what's interesting is how they bring up, I keep saying it and forget to bring this up, but they bring up how important it is to have a job that's above the books that pays taxes. And I get that. That makes sense. Like, you know, they have to keep tabs on it. They need proof that he has a job. But I don't think we have ever, that I can recall, heard Louisiana say that. They're like totally cool with just getting any job. Just get a job. They never say it has to be above the books. They just want some type of, just say you have a job somewhere and there's a name and, you know, but we never do see them ever emphasize about how it has to be above the books, which again, I get why they say it, but also it limits so much. Let's be real. But anyways, with that, I'll let
What's a high risk for you going back out into the community, Mr. Hopkins?
High risk. Probably if drinking or something, you know, that would be a high risk for me, you know.
Being
But,
around children a risk?
No. Mm-mm. It's not a risk, but because that was something that, like I said, I was holding in. Something happened to me, and I know for a fact, you know, I wouldn't hurt a child like that if I had got counsel for myself.
So you're,
Before-
if I'm hearing you right, Mr. Hopkins, you're not attracted to children.
No,
You
ma'am.
were acting out under the influence and targeting vulnerable children as a way of fixating on your own sexual issues.
Yes, ma'am. Exactly.
We are about to watch the parole hearing of a man who was caught doing it a second time while out on probation. Yes, a repeat offender. Who would have thought that could be possible? Yet somehow he still has a low risk score. You can't make it up. We'll unpack it with the disturbing details at the end.
Right in that room, take a seat right there on your right, and you will just.
Good morning, Mr. Hopkins.
Good morning. How you doing?
My name is Parole Officer Logan. Today is Friday, June 28th, 2024, and this is a hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Paroles. The following board members are present this hearing. I state their names on the record. Certify they have reviewed all statutory required documents.
Nancy Turner, good morning.
Morning, Mike Paul.
Good morning, Sergio Rodriguez.
Good morning.
Please state your name and inmate number for the record.
Robert Hopkins, 1173-99.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Robert Hopkins, 117399. He is serving a sentence of 20 years flat for 2 counts of risk of injury to a child and a violation of probation. The underlying charge is risk of injury to a child. He is to remain on the sex offender registry for 10 years. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of September 29, 2021. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows he has completed the following programs since his last hearing: good intentions, bad choices, domestic violence, voices, the track 1 sex offender program, and he's currently enrolled in school for his GED, and he works as a janitor. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system,
The offender's overall score falls within the moderate range of risk for recidivism. Utilizing the static 99R, the offender's overall score for sexual offense recidivism falls within the low to moderate range. Mr. Hopkins, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. Please begin.
Yes, I would like to start out by apologizing, and I take full responsibility for everything that I have caused the victims, and during my incarceration, the last time I went up for parole, I was considered the programs, and doing the programs, I realized a lot of things that I didn't know, and about myself and about others, and the risk factors that will put myself in a position not to do this anymore. And the amount of time I have done that took effect on me and made me realize that life is too short to be in here. And when you lose so many family members and over something, stupid you done, and not being there for them. Also, the physical weight it takes on you, being here, seeing other people, hang themselves, commit suicide, it bothers you mentally. It takes a big effect on you. So with all of that, I say to the board, you don't never have to worry about seeing my name come across your desk again if I ever be granted parole.
Thank you, Mr. Hopkins. I'm not cutting you off, am I?
No, ma'am.
Okay. It's good to see you again, sir. I was on your prior panel.
Oh, okay. I know you looking for me. Oh, you the
Okay.
one that.
Well, I'm 3 years older and so are you. Yeah.
Yes.
So I want to congratulate you on the fact that you took this window that we gave you before a rehear to really dig in and do some hard work. You haven't gotten any more DRs?
No, ma'am.
And you work as a janitor?
Yes.
You've been trying to get your GED? And you've done
Yes,
some really important programs.
Yes, ma'am.
It's good to see, sir.
It's good to see you too.
Well,
I didn't recognize you.
Well, it's good to see the progress that you've made. Age is not a kind journey, but so I would agree that, life's too short to be wasted in prison, but it's been important that you serve the sentence for the crimes that you committed.
Yes.
And the harm that you did out there in the community, and the effects that it has. I'm sorry for what you've gone through mentally with, as you mentioned, the suicide of other prisoners. That's never an easy thing, and I'm sorry for what you've experienced there, sir. Thank you for beginning with an apology to your victims and an acceptance of responsibility. I think of that as some progress too, because you weren't fully admitting to both of your crimes the last time we met. So tell me, you said you learned things about yourself and others from the programs. So tell me what you took away from taking the Track 1 program for sexual offenders.
Well, I learned that when you harm a victim, it mess with them mentally, you know? It messes a child up. And also I learned from myself some things that I wasn't releasing, you know, that I had been a victim, you know, of sexual assault. And I think that could have took effect on me acting in the way I act, because I never told anyone. I never let nobody know until that program. And I was holding all that stuff in. And I'm glad when I look back, I'm glad you told me to take that program. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad you've been able to unburden yourself of what you were carrying, because it wasn't your fault.
Yes.
And yet it's surrounded in shame and secrecy, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. And then, distorts your own thinking. And then when you add alcohol to the situation, you act inappropriately because you haven't figured things out for yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Beyond your own victimization, since, these are repeated acts, can you tell me what you have taken from the program that will help you not reoffend?
Like to stay on a study track is to get in a program, stay in the program, stay around positive counselors, because I need counsel myself, and I think I know that for a fact. That's a fact. If I continue to program and counsel, I do good, and express what I've been through, not to put nobody else through what I've been through,
What's a high risk for you going back out into the community, Mr. Hopkins?
A high risk? Probably if doing drugs or drinking or something, that would be a high risk for me,
Being
But,
around children a risk?
No. It's not a risk, but because that was something that, like I said, I was holding in. Something happened to me, and I know for a fact, I wouldn't hurt a child like that if I had got counsel for myself.
So if I'm hearing you right, Mr. Hopkins, you're not sexually attracted to children.
No,
You
ma'am.
were acting out under the influence and targeting vulnerable children as a way of fixating on your own sexual issues.
Yes, ma'am. Exactly. The way to put it.
So what we're doing here today, you're not end of sentence until the year 2031. And
Yes,
your
ma'am.
sentence does not involve any supervision, which makes me very concerned. but I think it's a flat sentence because you haven't been successful on probation in the past.
Okay,
So, were we to grant you discretionary parole, you have about 6.5 years ahead of you, before, your sentence is, the 20 years is up. So you would have a lot of time to work with a parole officer. We'd want you to continue problem sexual behavior out in the community. We would also restrict your access to minors. Just because we have to look out for the interests of public safety. They're vulnerable and you've targeted them in the past.
I understand.
Okay. And I think, a mental health evaluation and treatment could be to your benefit, not just for the, trauma you suffered as a child, but the PTSD of your period of incarceration, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What you've seen and so forth. You have a standing criminal protective order against you until the year 2064.
Yes,
Okay. And you have the registry ahead of you, as Officer Logan indicated. You want to go to a girlfriend's home in Bloomfield.
yes, ma'am.
Tell me about the history of this relationship, because you've been incarcerated for a good long time now. So who is she to you, and how long, how far back do you two go? I mean, this isn't somebody you started pen paling with in prison, is it?
No, we've been knowing each other for at least 20 some years, but like when her husband died, me and her, when her husband died like 12 years ago, me and her started dating then, and I stepped in, and helped raise her son, and
Is she, have you had a chance to tell her about, the crime she committed and your own history?
yes, she know everything. She know everything about me. Yes,
Okay.
she's
All right. I just want to make sure, because it's only fair if she's going to open her home to you,
yes,
that she knows what the history is, and she knows that her address will be on the sex offender registry because you're living there.
yes,
Okay. All right. Well, you're very lucky to have someone like that in your life, sir. So have you taken the language arts test for the GED?
no, I take it. I'll take it next week.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wish you much success with that, because that's all that's left before you.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
I'll
Well, study all weekend.
I will.
Okay.
Yes, I will.
I was pleased to see you took domestic violence. That wasn't previously on your OAP, but you've had it in the past.
Yeah,
Couple of incidents involved that.
yeah, I added that to it after I took the sex program. I wanted to add that.
So what is it? So, you're going out, you've never dated this woman and you're going to be living in her house. And you have a history with violating protective orders and assaultive behavior. So tell me what a healthy relationship looks like.
What you said? I never dated her.
You didn't date her, right? She was married and then her husband died and now you're together. And you've been in prison all this time. So
he died when I was out. He died when I was out.
All right, well then let's just say it's been a long time since you've been out on a date with her.
Yeah.
And now you're gonna move into her house, you're getting into her space. It's a lot to go from 0 to 60. And you're living with somebody and, they're leaving their dirty underwear on the floor and, waiting for you to fix some dinner. So tell me what a healthy relationship looks like.
Yeah, but we was living together before I got locked up.
Okay, so she knows what she's getting into.
Yeah, she knows.
All right,
she
so again, the question, healthy relationship.
taking good care of her. She know that. She probably looking now. She's looking at us now.
I imagine she is.
And you know, working, taking care of the household, taking care of everything, you know.
What about how you treat each other?
Oh, we treat each other good. Just fine. I'm telling you.
But what did you learn in the program about what a healthy relationship looks like?
Oh yeah. I seen the film on a non-healthy relationship. So the healthy one is not to be fussing and fighting and, you know, beating up on her, you know, and
So that means you respect her,
yeah, respect
Uh-huh.
her to the fullest, you know, to the
trust
utmost.
each other.
Yeah, and you know, that's what we always do anyways, me and her, you know.
Well, I'm asking you, I don't know about your relationship with her, so I'm asking you to describe what a healthy relationship looks like, so I know you know how to behave in a relationship after the history that you have of being disrespectful and abusive with your partners.
Oh, yeah,
So
no,
when you have trust, then you have healthy boundaries.
right.
You're
Yeah,
not checking up on the person. You're
No,
dealing
I'm
with your
fine.
own feelings of jealousy, not putting it on them.
Not following around and stuff like that, ask her where she been and, you know.
Right,
No,
she's a grown woman and she's been on her own all this time. She doesn't have to account to you for her time.
for nothing, because she's been looking out for me ever since I've been here, so I know that for a fact. You know, I know she can hold her own, you know. Ever since I've been in here, she's been right beside me, you know.
All right, well, that's loyalty, isn't it?
Yes, it
Another important quality in a healthy relationship.
is. And I owe her a lot.
All right, Mr. Hopkins, I appreciate you talking with me. I'm going to turn the opportunity over to my colleagues.
I have no question.
Mr. Hopkins has no questions.
On you.
Okay, so Mr. Pohl is good as well. So, you know, I don't know that there's any additional programs left in DOC that you could take, sir. So, you know, we've given you all you need to be successful. The rest is on you. But understand that your parole officer is there to support you being successful. You have a big transition ahead of you because you've been locked up for a long time. And you have still a lot of work to do out in the community, as you've already identified. So that's
Yes, ma'am.
somebody that can connect you to services and programs that are going to help you find a job, find a therapist, that kind of thing. So, you know, go into this 6.5 years with a positive mindset that this is just another person in your support system. It's not just about accountability like probation is. But remember, they have arrest powers. So you mess up bad and you're coming back to prison.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And, you know, you don't want to turn 60 in khaki. It's not a good look.
No, I'm, you better know it.
All right. So for Mr. Hopkins, I'm looking at problem sexual behavior treatment, no contact with minors without PO's permission, no alcohol, no contact with victim SW, and mental health evaluation and treatment is deemed necessary.
Thank you.
No second? All right. Okay, Mr. Hopkins, here we go. In the matter of Robert Hopkins, inmate number 117399, there is a motion to grant parole on or after today's date of June 28, 2024, with the following conditions for your supervision. You're to participate in problem sexual behavior treatment in the community. You're to have no contact with minors without your PO's permission. You're not to consume any alcohol. You're not to have any contact with victim initials SW. And you're to have a mental health evaluation and engage in treatment as deemed necessary. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Congratulations, Mr. Hopkins. Go out and do good.
Thank you.
And congratulations on the hard work.
This concludes the hearing for Robert Hopkins, 117399.
It's just madness. I don't get it. You know, I expect more from Turner. She's just better than this. How can you look over the fact that he says that there is no risk? There is, quote, no risk being around children. This is a repeat offender. We'll go over the information, but his most recent offense that happened in July of 17th of 2011 was he repeatedly sexual assaulted a girl for over 2 years, starting at the age of 9. Now, keep in mind that he was convicted of sexual assault in 2005. And he was sentenced to 10 years probation. They don't say how young she was, but take a guess. I mean, he was given probation for the first sexual assault case. That's okay. Probation. And you just can't make this stuff up. And he tells the parole board, it's the parole board's job. It's the parole board's job to go in the hearing and say, should we release you 7 years early? Because his full term date is 2031. Should we release you early? What did he, I mean, no, he's a serial predator. Of course he shouldn't be released early. The sentence he got is a joke even then. I mean, think about this. This was the second time doing this to someone, and he's getting out after serving what? 13 years? I mean, it's a joke. The whole thing's a joke. What in the parole hearing? I have no children. No risk at all. I mean, you know, it just goes to it's just this. It's like, I believe he just learned some one-liners. He didn't learn that well, because he would have known that he would have said it's a risk and he would do this, he'd do that. But no, he just said, well, I learned in the programs that it was because of my experiences that I did this to other people. And it's like and she just bought it hook, line, and sinker. Like, wow, yeah, you're cured now, because you know why? You're not going to do this again. Great job. And that's crazy. It's scary, because she's been very good of late, and she has a background in her, and to think that she would just fall for something like that, to take the chance that she's not being manipulated by him, to take the chance, like, I mean, there's so much to talk about in this case. I don't even know where to start. A Bloomfield man is facing arraignment allegations that he repeatedly sexually assaulted a girl over 2 years, beginning when she was 9 years old. 9. This is not, there's no cure to this. Robert Hopkins is set to appear in Hartford Superior Court on Monday to face charges. He was arrested last week. Police say that he was convicted of sexual assault in 2005 and sentenced to 10 years probation, because probation, right? Probation. Oh my God. And here's the initial one. And thank you, Richard, for, of course, providing this information. Oh, this is a convicted sex offender in Bloomfield denied allegations that he repeatedly did this. He was charged with first degree, risk of injury to a minor. According to the warrant, Hopkins arrested investigator at the Department of Children and Family, told the police victim accused him of doing it and other things since she was 9. He ever denied doing it. He only admitted to doing this in front of her. Officers also said that he failed a voluntary polygraph test. I don't believe in polygraph tests, just saying it for the record. We don't know the relationship he had with the girl, but then you find out that he was helping this woman who was his sponsor. He was helping her when they were friends raise her kid. Did you catch him say that? That's great. That's just great. I'm sure he did a great job raising her child. Sanity. Well, they granted. Why not? It's just children we care about. And with the polygraph test, I get it. I think it's a good tool. I think the polygraph test is a great tool. Like in this case, where like you failed. I think no matter what he fails, they're not passing him, right? It's a tool that you use to help manipulate an interrogation. In that sense, I think it's great. But but I wouldn't rely on it at all. But as a tool, yeah, it's a great tool. Anyways, there you have it. Thank you, Richard, for the info. And remember, oh, right, before the last thing, can you imagine that? Can you imagine that they have him on a low to moderate risk score? Just a repeat offender. What does it take to get a high risk score? Really? What does it take? He's not even moderate. He's not low. He's not low. He's low to moderate. He literally in the past, I guess, so you want to do the math. If you only want to take the information we have without any speculation, he's caught in 2005. He's given 10 years probation, and he's reported in 2011 after doing it for 2 years. So he started in 2009. So in the best case scenario, in the past 18 years of his life, he has only spent 4 years when he wasn't locked up doing something to a little child. And that, my friends, is a low to moderate risk. And with that, I'll let you go.